First point that we are going to cover, though, it's a different framework around what it's fear and how it's related to purpose and how it's related to mindfulness, or to both outer and inner success. We are also going to explore what are your main three fears related to the beautiful talk and that Sumeda has guided us through. We are going to see what are three main aspects of your shadow or your fears, and the ones that are limiting you the most today in your life, and that probably they have been limiting you maybe for decades. I cannot see you, so I don't know your age exactly, but I can guess a few decades already. We are also going to see a simple and new way to explore and understand fear, doubt, and negative emotion, so you can much easily and effectively relate to it and even use it as a mindfulness tool, and even transform those fears into leverage or fuel to live more your outer success and also your inner or mindful success. I hope that feels like something valuable, and it's a lot. We only have around 20 minutes, so let's jump into it. But first, I'd like you to confirm that you are hearing me properly. So I'm sure the communication is working. And it's also a way, while asking you questions, to make sure you are, thank you very much for the questions or the answers already coming, a way so we are engaged. You know that questions hook the mind to the conversation. So we are gonna squeeze and take deeper advantage of this opportunity together. Thank you very much. Thank you. Someone called me bro. Thank you very much. So first, why do I believe that I have something so valuable to share that is worth your time? I believe, I'm totally sure, because who is organizing this event, that you are already an amazing human being with an amazing level of mindfulness and leadership. And yet, not only that, you are also humble and eager and hungry enough to keep learning. And you are showing that by showing up here today. So why do I believe I have something valuable to share? My story begins when I was only 16 years old. So it's 21 years ago. And I was coming already from 3 years as a teenager where I was getting really rebellious, because I didn't understood that the adults around me, they seemed to expect from me that I grew up and that I became one of them. Now, what is the trouble with that? That I don't know what it is about you or your story, but in my experience, none of those adults were a real reference, a real model of how to be a truly happy, fulfilled human being. And don't take me wrong, my environment were of quite open-minded adults, my parents and their friends, and even my professors. But still, none of them seemed to me a real model of true fulfillment and consistent happiness. And because of that sense that I had, becoming one of them was like getting myself into the mouth of the wolf, into the dark problem. So I started to do everything that was forbidden. I don't want to go into much detail, but I started to be more rude with my parents. I started to take worse grades in the school or in high school. I started to consume drugs, even to sell them. And I was super young. And I didn't did that because I thought that was what I was aspiring to. It was only because if what I was told wasn't really working to make me fulfilled, if that wasn't promising, I kind of felt subconsciously that I needed to shake this world and find if there was a different window or gate to access a more fulfilling, meaningful life. I'm sure our story is different, but can you relate to a time where the world out there didn't make proper sense and you needed to shake things around, try something different? Maybe even if that's why you are in this environment, trying, exploring different ways of leadership and mindfulness. That was my experience. That led me to change the course of my life and made everything in my life about mindfulness, about conquering myself, about finding true fulfillment. That led me to study philosophy, Western philosophy, mainly here in Spain, instead of business, which was my main other option. That led me to study holistic therapies, to study Gestalt psychology. That led me to study meditation. And since I was 16, but then when I was 22, I found a practice of meditation, or mindfulness if you want, that was so deep and effective that I was like, this is it. And I went all the way in and I became a monk of that practice. And I've been a monk of that practice for over 12 years. Now, what happened when it was already 10 years in that process of being a monk, and I had been teaching to hundreds, probably thousands of people, mainly in Latin America, but also in Europe and occasionally in Asia, that at some point, not even that was enough. And in a moment, you're going to see what is the connection between fear and mindfulness and why it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't enough because as I became a monk and I was deepening in my practice, and it was peace, inner fulfillment becoming so easy. It was so inspiring and so expansive. That's a key word. Expansive. And I tell you later why and how it's related to fear and turning fear into fuel. But at some point, it was more of the same. Even if it was way better than for almost anyone that I will meet in the streets or in my conferences, it was the same. I wasn't growing as much. And it was about 10 years, and I started become more aware that I wasn't growing. Now, I think what helped accelerate that, it was that my wife at the time, my beautiful wife with her amazing, beautiful green eyes, took me to the garden of our home in the beautiful mountains overseeing the Mediterranean here in Spain, and sat in front of me and said, I love you, and we are finished. And that catalyzed me realizing that no matter how much easy access I had to peace, and even if it didn't make sense to me that I had such an easy access to peace, still I was holding back in the relationship with my partner, in the relationship with my mom as well, in the relationship with my fitness, in the relationship with my money and finances, in the relationship with my career. Everything that really mattered to me was limited because of my fear, I discovered. Because I was afraid. Afraid to be rejected, afraid to fail, afraid to not be good enough, afraid to try and realize I don't have what it takes, afraid to succeed and then lose it, afraid to even succeed and then not be myself anymore and lose the connection that I had with the people I really loved. So in the last couple of years, I've been distilling all that knowledge as a monk and as a philosophy and Gestalt psychology and turn it into this fear hacking method. And in the minutes that are left, we are going to explore together the essence of this method and how you can use fear, doubt, and any negative emotion into a leverage or fuel for your outer success and your inner or mindful success. Now, please type in the comments again that you are hearing me properly, that the sound is working. Thank you for your comment as well, Suman. I wait for your comments. Perfect. Thank you very much. So now, really briefly, what is the connection between purpose or outer success and inner, or we could say mindful success? The connection is that you need to be free of fear, or to be able to conquer or master fear in order to really burn your excuses, devour your excuses, your limits, and keep moving forward towards what you really want. Even more, you need to actually devour your excuses, your fears, to be brutally honest and explain, write down, know for sure what is what you really, really, really want in the main areas of your life. And in that more in-depth workshop that you have a free invitation to in the link above, this same one, FearHackingMethod.com online workshop, I will guide you, if you want to go deeper with me, into that exercise to know exactly what is your purpose. Now, the same for the inner game. You need to master your fears to be able to know that you can handle them in order to be really honest of what is the version of yourself that is required from you so you can actually fulfill that purpose, that fear-free version of yourself. But also, and that was my surprising experience with meditation, even being a monk, is that if I don't know how to deal with fear, I want to run away from my negative emotions, the shadow that our previous speaker was sharing with us, and only run towards my peace. Now, a metaphor that I want to use here is you being Neo in the Matrix, the movie. You know that movie, right? Or you have heard about it at least, for sure. There is a scene in that movie where Neo is being shooted, and he's starting to realize so much the power of his potential that he starts to dodge the bullets. Now that's still you reacting to fear, trying to dodge your shadow, trying to dodge, in my case, what I was afraid of, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being able to succeed, not having what it takes. But there is another option, which is what Neo does next. He just stares at them, watch them non-reactively, and the bullets, those representations of fear, fall apart in front of them. If the mind sometimes seems like a labyrinth, that it's enclosing you, that is limiting you, fears are the walls of that labyrinth. Fear, especially doubt and any negative emotion as well. But when you watch at it, it disappears, it dissolves, and freedom grows. Actually, those fears become, it's energy. So at the end, it becomes energy that now is not here to stop you, but to fuel you. An opportunity for more growth and freedom, and both professional or outer success and inner or mindful or peace success. So what we are going to do now is to understand that fear, doubt, and any negative emotion is just contracted energy, and that creates those walls in our psyche and in our lives, invisible, untouchable walls. But that same energy can expand, and when it expands, it becomes well-being, it becomes positive emotions. Based on Einstein, right? Everything is energy. So when it's contracted, it's perceived as negative and limiting. And when it expands, it becomes well-being and positive emotion available for you to live a fulfilling life. The next part that we are going to do is to write down our fears. And I want you to write down rapidly, without thinking, your main 3 fears here in the chat. I know it takes courage to be vulnerable. You can also write them down in your notebook if you prefer. But if you write them down in here, you are exposing yourself more and you are allowing yourself to play more powerfully. But still follow your gut. Choose wherever you want to write them down. Here in the chat or in your notebook. Very well. I write mine as well. Very well. Fear of failing, fear of not being accepted, fear of loss of something, fear of failure, fear of losing, sleep between the cup and the lip, fear of not doing good enough, work now with you all. That one is mine. Thank you very much for all your shares. And now we are going to go into a live exercise again, a mindful fear hacking exercise, or a fear of public speaking. Very well. And fear of failure again. Perfect. So what we are going to do is to close our eyes in a moment. And I'm going to ask you for permission to guide you through this exercise. That it's really just a mindful exercise, but it's against what we normally do with fear. We normally run away from fear, like Neo used to do at the beginning. And we are going to do the opposite. We are going to learn to be Neo, maybe not as good as him the first time, but we are going to see the essence of how we can turn towards fear, look at it, and see it dissolving or falling apart in front of us. And then for those of you that feel, wow, I actually like this approach, I want to go deeper into this, you'll have this special gift as a part of the Indian Leadership Academy community, where you have this free access to this €97 workshop, and we can go deeper together and understand this better. So if you are ready, close your eyes and breathe deep one time. Just a little bit deeper this time than the previous one. And now, instead of running away from fear, I want you to let one of those fears that you wrote come to your mind, or even if it's another one. The first one that comes to your mind, trust it. And once you have it, very well. Now I want you to let your mind bring up a memory. A memory of the last time that you suffered with a fear, that fear. The last time that fear really hooked you. The last time that you felt like you were really in that labyrinth or in that loop where you tried to get out of it and you actually get deeper engaged with that fear. And instead of running away from it, what we are going to do this time is to stay here. And I actually want you to remember how was the smell in that moment where you were experiencing that fear. Doesn't matter if it comes super accurate or just a hint of that. And I want you to remember how you felt in your body. What was the feeling in your skin in that moment of fear? Very well. And let also your mind bring you the memory of what sounds were around you in that moment of fear. We're going a bit quick, but just trust it. And I also want you to let your mind bring you the memory of what was the taste in your mouth in that moment of fear. And now I want you to let your mind bring you a number from 0 to 10 that says how uncomfortable or how unhappy or how contracted were you in that moment of fear, in that memory, from 0 to 10, 10 being maximum. How uncomfortable were you? And now what I want you to notice is that this time you are not running away from it, the opposite. And yet it hasn't destroyed you, it hasn't break you. And there is a part of your subconscious, also your conscious maybe a little, but there is a part of your subconscious that right now is discovering, wow, I'm doing the opposite that I normally do. I'm not running away from it, and it's not breaking me. Maybe I was all along more powerful than my fear. Maybe I need more practice. Maybe I need more Morpheo helping me, training me. Maybe I need more support. Maybe I need more training. But I'm not running away from my fear right now, and it hasn't break me. Maybe it never did. It never had the power to break me. And maybe if I train myself, the science of habit says up to 254 days to build a new habit. Maybe if I train myself for 3 to 6 months, maybe I can be fear-free or master of my fears, doubts, and negative emotions for the rest of my life. And live a life where I live my purpose, where I devour my excuses, my fears. I follow my gut, I follow myself instead of the voices in my head, the voices, the fears limiting. And instead I live my purpose. I live the life I dream. And I become a model for others to remember that they can also live their purpose and the life they dream. Thank you very much, all of you, for being part of this. And if you feel like you want to go deeper into this, it will be my honor to have you in that workshop, valued in 97 euros, but free for all of you for being part of the Indian Leadership Academy. Thank you very much, Dipesh, and all of you. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much, Loto. Okay, that was a wonderful session. Okay, and that fear hacking exercise was extremely good. Okay, I love that. Thank you so much once again. So I would like the audience to ask few questions, and Loto, just answer one of them. Okay, there might be few questions, but we have very less time due to time constraint. You can just answer one question. Okay. So audience, feel free to ask any question to Loto.
Thank you, Dipesh, and thank you all of you, and looking
All right.
forward to that question. Here, Pramod says, in fact, I never had that prior experience of a failure, but now it is more from what I hear from around. Fear exercise was really awesome. Thank you very much. No question. Thank you. I think one really common question is, can I master this on my own, or do I need help from someone else? And I think it's a super valid question and a really powerful one, because I think especially in personal growth, there is a lot of sense, or a lot of saying that we need a coach, we need a mentor. And maybe this is the wrong place to say it, but I think that is bullshit. I think we need to follow our gut. I think we need to accept that we are Neo. I think we need to accept and acknowledge that we don't need more fear. Now, maybe we deserve more fear. Maybe we want that catalyzer. Maybe we want a shortcut. Maybe we want to hack through what is slowing us down or stopping us, and find a way to be more in integrity, faster, as quick as possible. And in that, it does make sense that someone, just because he's in the outside, has an advantage to guide us. And if that someone is someone that has been putting thousands of hours, like all the experts today, into their craft, most likely they can help us catalyze in beautiful, even incredible ways. And what it's important is that you follow your gut, that you are super sincere. And if you want that support, like you are choosing today, you go for it. Not because you need, but because you want. Not because you are lacking something, not because of scarcity, but because of abundance. Because you want it and you deserve it. And the other question, really briefly, that one is coming from Sanjukta, thank you very much, is we may have more than one fear. Where to start? You already started. We all have already started. The thing is the same process for one fear than any other fear. One fear than any other fear, doubt, or negative emotion. It's just like in anything. Think about when you started to drive, right? And if you have tried that, at the beginning it was like crazy. How can I look at the mirror and not die in this crazy traffic? And also the pedals, and also it was too many things. And probably now you don't even think about driving. Sometimes you wonder, how did I got here? I don't remember driving any of the miles of the trip. So the more you practice anything, it becomes easier and more effective, right? So the more you practice something, the easier and more effective it becomes. The same with fear. And the science of habit talks about max 254 days of consistent practice to build a new habit. So that's the maximum that you need to realize you can forever deal easily or effectively with any fear, doubt, and negative. I love to extend more. That's why we have the opportunity of that extra workshop for free for all of you. Thank you, Dipesh. Thank you very much.